Hey everybody, so I'm giving you a video today on teaching you how to open up your hand after a stroke. Also, this is going to show you some ways to get your hand up over your head. So I'm going to show you some exercises as I'm down here on the ground, which you can lay on your bed. And then I'm going to sit up and show you some other exercises that were very interesting and helpful for me as I was trying to get the mobility back in my fingers and open up the hand. So follow me. So my hand does open now. I still don't have full dexterity in it, all the fingers, not just yet, but it's coming. So me starting off in the beginning, I did not have the strength to fully lift my arm up myself. So if you are in the beginning of your stroke, your arm and your hand is still weak, you definitely will need assistance with doing this, trying to make sure, and the reason you want assistance is because you want to make sure everything is functioning correctly, the correct way. So as you're weak, you may turn or flex your joints the improper way, and we don't want you building that tone in those joints. So having someone assist you, someone will stay on this side, whatever side you're affected on, someone will be on the side. But I'm going to assist my own arm as pulling up as if I had assistance. So my hand was closed. It's open now, but what I would do was I would have the assistance, and you want to make sure you keep that elbow in tight, making sure you have correct form. They would assist me in driving up overhead. At the same time, they would only assist me as far as, so the person that's assisting you, you don't want them to take the arm up for you. You want them to guide you to make sure you're lifting the arm up correctly. So I would bring it up here. My goal was to take it overhead. So as I would get it to this point, my goal was to take it overhead. So I would start to reach up overhead. As I reach up overhead, it's really connecting the brain to the rest of your body to tell it to do such. So I'm telling myself that I want my hand to open up. So as you know, my hand does open on my own now, but literally this is what made me open my hand. I would get it overhead and telling my brain I need to open up the hand. And literally I have it recorded from the first time I did it. I couldn't tell because, again, I don't have all the feeling on the side that the hand was open. And at the time, my therapist was assisting me, and she started screaming like, oh my gosh, can you feel that? I didn't feel anything. So this right here, just doing this exercise over and over and over time, eventually will happen. It did not happen at the first time, but over time doing it does help. So then assisting it here to bring your arm back up. And again, stretching and reaching up as if you're reaching up to the ceiling or the sky. Reach all the way up. And another thing is you're going to come down, because this again is strengthening your arm and your hand. Again, the person assisting you will help you to make sure you don't just drop the arm, because when that arm is weak, you don't have full control. So I would try to control it coming down, and you can have the assistance to stop it to make sure it did not just drop. A funny thing was when I started this, I didn't have the control of the joints in my shoulder. So I would take my arm up and I would, boom, right in my face. You know how many times I punched myself in the nose or the eye? Like, it sounds crazy, but literally I would get it here and it would just drop. Literally just punching myself. So that's why you need the assistance, to make sure someone is helping you so you're not knocking yourself out. But bringing it here, and again, you'll do this over and over again. This is strengthening the entire arm as well as, and it's also great too, I just remember you want to look at it as well. As I'm looking at you in the camera, but you want to look at the body part, because again, that helps the brain connect to see what you're trying to do. We're trying to look at it, we want to go overhead. Of course you can't see overhead, but a great thing is mirrors actually work just well. So if you have a mirror, you can be watching yourself in the mirror. Again, taking it overhead and telling your brain that you want to open the hands. I don't know what it is, but when you get the arm overhead, it's almost as a natural movement that it does open. So I think that actually helped me open the hand. So my problem was forcing it. So once I started to pull the arm back overhead, was to concentrate to make sure it stayed open and it didn't close. So again, we're here, we're reaching up as high as we can, reaching. And we're slowly taking it back down. Elbow in close. And then you want to think about, look at my hand. Thumb is up. So you don't want to do this. We want to work this way. Thumb goes up. So even if you're standing up and you're trying to help with your arm or shoulder rotation or shoulder strengthening, you want to focus to make sure that thumb goes up. That's what helps you to make sure you're in the right position. And another thing I just thought about, as I was doing mine, it did help with me doing it with the opposite side to get that connectivity with both sides. So that whole symmetrical movement. So I would try to lift it up. It worked a lot better with me focusing and trying to look at both to tell my brain how it's supposed to happen. I still don't have as much flexibility in the left as I do in the right, so that's still a work in progress, but these are great exercises for you. As I have it here, I'm just going to drop the elbow only and try to push up with the hand. So it's almost as a push press. So if you have a bar or something that you can hold that does not have any weight, you can take it here and try to push up, because my pectorals right here in the chest muscles are very weak. So it took me quite a long time to try to even push up in this position. Again, thinking about strengthening all those little muscles that we don't pay attention to. So you can do it without anything in your hand, but it's great if you had like a straight bar or something to assist you with pushing up. So we're gonna call this the towel grab and drop, or grab and throw. So trying to get this hand open. Your hand is stuck closed. Think of something you're familiar with. Like me, I am a physical trainer. So I was more familiar with trying to pick up a weight. It sounds pretty funny, but I remember the first time they asked me to pick up a rag in my hand, and they kept trying to put it in my hand. My fingers did not open up to it. They grabbed a 1 pound weight, and literally my hands, which you'll see it in my documentary, my hand literally, it did not open up as fast, but literally you can see my fingers trying to grasp onto the 1 pound weight. I couldn't necessarily do anything with it. Well, actually I did, but they would take the weight away and then try to give me the rag again. It wouldn't open up. It was like my fingers were stubborn as to say, I don't want no rag, give me the weight back. So my fingers were closed tight. And I'm saying this to say, so you could be a mechanic or something, I promise. You're a mechanic or something, think about something you do on a normal basis that your body is used to. So if I was a mechanic and they tried to give me a rag, I'd say, I don't want a rag. If they gave me a, I don't know, screwdriver or something, maybe my hand would have opened up. But what I'm used to is lifting weights, so when they tried to give me the weight, literally my fingers did this in order enough for me to grasp onto the weight. So, but coming back to where I am now, grabbing the towel is a great thing. So not necessarily the fingers opened up all the way, but I was able to, even if you have to assist them by opening them up yourself, you want to do that to work on the grip strength of your hand. So you grab onto the rag, and what it was for you to take the arm out and release it. So they're telling you to grasp it, and I'm telling you to grasp it to work on your strength, but at the same time, we need to tell the brain to drop it out of my hand. Dropping it out of my hand releases and opens up the hand. So some of you, your hand may close right away. If you have the control now, your hand opens up, that's fine. We're gonna pick it back up. And from here, I grab it, and they would try to get me to roll it up. So even now, I would say in the sense that I'll cheat, because I'll put it like up against me to roll it up, because if you get more control of the thumb, you can pull things in a lot easier. But we're still working on that. But I have it back in my hand. Extend the arm out. Release. And you see that's funny because my middle finger is squeezing tighter. It wouldn't release it. So that's something that's still working on. I'm still working on. Again, I'm going to cheat because I'm trying not to use the right hand, but trying to work on balling this up. And again, you can do it to this point because I did not always have the extension, did not always have the extension in my arm. So when I first started doing it, I would hold my arm here and just try to toss it. But when you get to the point that you can extend a little more, and actually even if you can't have someone assist you on extending more, so again we're working on the strength of the whole arm. You want to do that. So I would have to focus on bringing the arm out correctly, pushing all the way out, open the fingers and releasing it. Another one was, okay, so I went to grab a resistance band. You can use any kind. I have a few different ones here that you can see. You can get one that's already looped, or you can get one that's freehand. So I'll just use the one that's freehand. So with this resistance band, again, still working on strengthening the arm and working on opening the hand up. So again, having somebody assist you. They can grab one end of this and you have the other end. And I'm just going to use my opposite hand. So you can, again, if your fingers don't open up on its own, assist them in opening them up. Let's wrap something around it as such. As you see I have here, I wrapped it around. So if my fingers were still closing, I would press them to the end to try to get them. Even though some of them are on top of each other, we were trying to just get it as straight as we could. And we would work on this. I'm pulling, but I'm not pulling too much. Because again, if you don't have full feeling, I don't want you to break a finger and you not feel it. But I'm not pulling too much, but I'm giving myself resistance as I'm trying to pull closed. Again, resistance here. So I pull closed, and now I'm pulling away. Again, working against the gravity here, trying to work on giving myself resistance. So I'm closing again and pulling. And as I'm pulling, I'm trying to open the fingers, but I'm pulling them in. So it kind of sounds a little rhetorical, as you're saying we're trying to learn how to open up the fingers. I said the same thing, but then they're telling you to try to grip something to get a nice grip. But guess what? You want a nice grip because you still need to be able to control. That's how you grab a door, grab a cup, or anything, is with that grip. At the same time, we want to get the fingers open, but the grip is very important. So that squeeze is important and that release is important. We're getting that release open. And again, how I had to assist myself in the beginning with opening up the fingers, the same thing you'll have to do. And it's really stretching them out and really getting that blood circulation going back in the fingers. So if you have somebody that can massage the fingers, get the flow for the blood circulation in the fingers and work on that, help you through that, and then grab somebody's hand and they'll tell you to squeeze, or you can squeeze yourself just to see how that works, and then we're releasing it. So again, with this resistance band, a few things we can do. So you got yourself to the point where your hand is open, we're going to go back into the loop. As you see, my fingers are still not perfect. And again, because we're working, I'm showing you things to strengthen the hand and the arms. So I'm going to keep, again, elbows tucked in. We're going with palms up as such. And I'm keeping the elbow in, and I'm trying to bring it out. So on my great side, the right side, I'll show you what it should look like. Small little external rotation. Working on those small joints in the shoulders. Left side. So if you are at the point that this is too much for you, you can do this without any resistance. I'll put this down. Again, elbows in tight. External rotation. Keeping that elbow in tight. We got the left side, elbow in. So you may be at the point where you don't have that strength to keep the elbow in. I didn't have it in the beginning, so I will put a towel here, or I could put my arm here to make sure my elbow is actually touching and trying to open it up. Because what you don't want is this. We don't want that. We want correct form. Elbow in tight and slightly opening up. Let's go back to these fingers. Okay, we're going to come in a little closer. I'll show you on the hand only. So on the hand, what we're trying to do with both fingers, I have some better days, I will say so. Right now, this one isn't exactly going to this finger, so I'm going to assist it. But I usually would do both fingers at the same time so I can see what it should look like, or really to see where that finger is landing on that thumb. Open it up, going each finger one at a time. I'm assisting it, Right now it's acting weird, but it's okay. We still work on it. It's a work in progress. That doesn't mean don't do it. It means just continue to do it. So we're trying to do this with both fingers. Here, taking each one. And again, even with you assisting it, that is telling your brain, hello, this is supposed to do this on both sides of the hand. So even if you have to assist it, it's still an exercise working your brain to remember that. Another one, once you master that, which you see I have not quite, but I'll get it. Another one that's really good for you is really, it's like walking the finger. So I'm gonna show you on the great side, walking the finger. We're gonna start with here, down, here, down. Each finger, walking. Walk, 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 walk. And taking it back up. I'll show you what it looks like over here. Walking a finger. And see what I deal with over here, the other fingers kind of get in the way. That's when I'm trying to do an exercise. Doesn't mean give up. Just you gotta restart or slow it down a little bit. And when you're doing exercises, your hands and your joints could get tight because it's tired. So just give yourself a break, give yourself a quick rest and try to get back to it. I'm walking it down. Again, may not be as perfect as the other side, but it's still something that could be done. And you take your time, you can get it over there. And you see, I'm opening the thumb up a lot more because I'm trying to really tell my thumb to calm down to get some of that tone out of my thumb because it was trying to tighten up. You gotta reach that pinky. We're going. And I'm telling my brain, recognize this is what I'm trying to do. So hands are open here. Another exercise. Creating the four, trying to reach. So you see how this reaches all the way over here? Trying to do the same thing, but without overextending. It's like an exercise. So if you first just started doing squats or maybe plank or push-up or something, you know it's not that easy. It's the same with working small things like this, the dexterity in your fingers. So I'm trying to reach this thumb all the way over here to this pinky. It's tight and it's not used to doing it. So it's not gonna be that easy. So it takes time. So it's like an exercise. Over time it gets better. We're reaching. You see that one's trying to get in the way. I'm gonna take my time, move it out the way. Take my time, move it out of the way. Another important exercise, again, strengthening that, it's the forearm. We gotta work on the forearm, which helps to strengthen the wrist and everything else. So I'm gonna sit down and do this one so I can show you. Only focus on the hands. So here we have, again, I'm mimicking both sides so I can see how it's done, make sure it's done correctly. You got your elbows on your lap, so your knees rested on your lap. We want to focus on the wrist only. We're going to start up by squeezing. Now do not move the arm off of your leg. We're working on strengthening that forearm. Do not move the arm. Just focusing on the wrist only. Pushing down as far as you can. Squeezing it back up. Back down. Keeping that elbow down. As my elbow just tried to lift up. Keeping the elbow down. Working on isolating the forearm and the wrist. And one thing you can see from here, these fingers are tucked in a lot more than this side. Still working on that. And this middle finger tries to do its own thing. Down and bringing it up. And we're going for 20 of these. Squeezing up, keeping those elbows flat. Back down. Elbows flat. Down. Whoop. Squeezing up. down. Another thing before we check out of here, also with the hand, that thumb is very important. So I remember one I kept trying to do was to lift my thumb up. Lifting my thumb up, I was trying to get the tip of that thumb moving. It's a lot of concentration. Again, I always mimic the other side to try to trigger the brain and say, hey, this is what I want to do. So when you get it to this point, then you can say, tell somebody, hey, I could play Thumb Wars with you. I don't even know if you could play Thumb Wars with yourself. Let's see. But basically, with that, you want to be able to get the thumb to the point that you're kind of doing some of everything with it. Mine isn't as great as it's going to be with practice, but you want to kind of get this flexibility in the thumb. Because again, when you have that flexibility in the thumb, you saw how I was utilizing the rag. I can pull and turn it into a ball. But when the thumb is a lot tighter, it's not as easy to control that. But again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share these videos to anybody you know that needs encouragement to keep pushing on whatever you're dealing with. Make sure you can find me on Instagram at Body Trace Fit also. But these exercises really, I hope, just to help you get on the right path and to stay focused. Bye.